Welcome to Seven Rivers Sports. I'm your host, Terry Erickson. Each week, an inside look into sports, wellness, and into fitness, and guests that hopefully will inspire you. Spotlight this week, Onalaska High School Volleyball with a pair of senior standouts, Molly Garrity and Carly Skemp. Welcome to the show, girls.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, as we tape the show here, I know you have a little bit left in your season, and we're going to talk about that, but this is a tough time for all of us. I'm sure you discussed that. I know you're in virtual classes, but you've discussed it as friends and as family and in your classes. With the pandemic, with the recession, with presidential election, with hybrid, missing your friends. I mean, you have a lot on your plate. How do you feel about all that, Carly?
I think I don't know, I think it's kind of stressful, especially with online school. I'm just not very good at it. I feel like the social aspect, I kind of need that in my day, and not having that is just a lot different on the virtual side. Like, having virtual class is a lot harder for me.
So just going back to last spring in March when everything was shut down in this country, and we're gradually coming out of it. But you missed, both of you did, but you missed 3 months of school. And now there's uncertainty even as we speak for the fall and the winter. Does that weigh heavily on you, Molly?
Yeah, I think it's just crazy because you don't know what to expect. It's new news every single day, and just going along with that, it's really hard to handle, I guess, because you don't know what's going to happen. It's like you're going to have a winter season, you're not going to have a winter season, and it varies from person to person. So,
you know, as we tape the show too, there's some conferences near Madison have already made the decision that there's no winter sports. And spring, a year from next spring in 2021, there's uncertainty there. Now, you're having a reduced season in volleyball. You started late, you're ending, you know, earlier, and all of that uncertainty, and then the divisiveness that is prevalent in this country based on the presidential election, and the fact that when they debate and so on, they act like fourth graders, or would you agree? And it's something that affects all of us. What's your thought on all those things going on, like the presidential election, Carly?
I'm not super into the political whatever. I don't really look into that as much as my parents would, I guess. But I think it's a lot harder for people to kind of decide or see, especially with Trump now, seeing how he handles everything going on. That would be a great decision to pick who you want to be for your future, I guess, have for your future.
Well, and this is not a political show. Good answer.
Yeah.
And we're not taking sides one way or the other. But all that weighs on the mental health of everyone in this country, and then the racial tension, social justice, and it won't be long before the deciding factors in the world will be your age. You will be making those decisions. How do you want to see this country, Molly? Let's be a visionary for a minute, because you're going to be. How do you want to see this country as you grow up and have children?
I think it's actually really cool to see right now, even with the different racial stuff that's going on and the political wise. I think our generation has a lot of potential of making a difference and making a change in this world, and I'm really excited to see our future and see our generation become the older generation, because I think we understand differences between people really well, and I'm excited to see us take that and just accept people for who they are.
So you're going to make the world better?
We're going to try.
Be the change, as Gandhi said, be the change that you want to see in this world. Be the change, exemplify the change in how you handle yourself in terms of racial issues and making decisions based on your platform that you have. For example, as an athlete, there are expectations. Whether you're a hilltopper, a blue gold, a ranger, or a red raider, or anybody, there are expectations. Young people are looking up at you. Your peers are looking at you, whether it's in the hallway. Hopefully the hallway will exist in the next few months,
yeah.
But you're on a platform. And when you decide to be an athlete, you have to accept that. Some people don't. What does it mean to be Carly, a hilltopper athlete. What do you want people to see when they watch you compete?
I think our team, like, well, me individually, I'd say just like good leadership, positive attitude, and like just having people look up to you. It's not like a lot of pressure, but I feel like you want to be a good influence for the younger like generation. So
good. I'm an official. I'm a broadcaster, Molly. I come and watch your game. I'm a fan. I walk out of there. What do you want me to see as I think back to Molly Garrity competing?
Personally, I want you to see me as a leader. I'm a vocal leader. That's kind of my thing, I guess you could say. So just that I communicated a lot and was able to hold the team together and just lead people when I play. And as a whole, that our team, that you just see good communication out of our team and integrity as a team.
Interesting. Your coach, Jessica Rohde, said this about you too. Carly and Molly are the most positive, encouraging athletes on the floor, especially when they're on the bench, because you're in a 6-2, which means you play you play half the time. They bring everyone up, says Coach Rohde. They exemplify senior leadership. Those are pretty good compliments, Carly.
pretty good.
You didn't know she had shared that with me, did you?
I did not, no.
Does that even, I'm sure that gives you a warm feeling. Does it even inspire you more to be sure that people see that quality in you?
I would say, yeah. I think trying to be more of a leader this year has been something that I've been trying to work on, especially since we're seniors, and it's kind of, I don't know, with all this going on, it's just been kind of stressful. So getting to just play volleyball is just like kind of stress taker, takes away.
Yeah. It's a deflection from what's going on. Well, and Carly, too, we're going to talk about all of your years of competing, which is, by the way, it's extraordinary. And Molly Garrity and Carly Skemp, my guests this week. But when you, Molly, when you, Coach talked about like when you're on the bench, and this is where I see as an official, as a fan, as a broadcaster, when I see players on the bench sometimes they're not engaged in the game. They're upset because they're not in the game. They're maybe have a sour look. Their body language displays that they're not happy being on the team, being on the bench. So they don't encourage their teammates. I see that all the time.
Yeah.
Do you?
See it all the time? From a team perspective, no. I think we're pretty good at that because a lot of our kids get to play, and that's a lucky opportunity that we get to have in this area. But one of the reasons we've persevered through some of those tough games is because we have the ability to have the energy on and off the bench. And when you run a 6-2, there's a lot of players playing. So I think to have the opportunity to do that, and even some of the kids that don't have the opportunity to play during the game, just having that energy off the bench is really important.
And you exemplify that. Now, that is a tribute to the culture that you've created, and I'm extremely impressed with that, because that's what I look for, is how the culture, how is it toxic, is it encouraging, are teammates just as concerned or more concerned with their teammates than they are themselves? That's what I look for. Mm-hmm. And so that's a compliment. Well, let's just switch gears for a minute and go back down the yellow brick road to when you were young and the seeds were planted. Your parents recognized you had a gift, but they gave you the opportunity. And let's go back to when you were very young and you got involved in athletics, Molly.
It's been a journey from the beginning because I couldn't thank my parents enough for the opportunities they've given me. I mean, I think as we're kids, we kind of get to try everything. And like, I stuck with 3 of those sports, but I got to do all of it in the younger years. And I'm just so glad I've got the opportunities to become the athlete I have around the other athletes I've been around. And
you have. And Carly, too, taking that proverbial walk and reflecting on, like, oh man, I remember when I was little and I got really excited about sports. Go back to that time in your life.
Well, like, kind of like Molly said, when you're little, you kind of play, like, every sport. Like, your parents have you do, like, dance, gymnastics, soccer. So, I don't know, I think kind of, like, narrowing that down was kind of more exciting for me, because then you just get to focus on those rather than like such a broad amount of like athletics, you know?
Mm-hmm. So when you were young, you sort of, your parents whet your appetite to multiple sports,
Yeah.
which is great, because that's what we tried to do. Unfortunately, our grandchildren have had the same opportunities. Is there something, as you reflect back, that was just a defining moment, not recently, but when you were very young, when somebody inspired you or a situation was memorable?
I think for me, when I was young, there wasn't really like a lot of kind of like famous people I looked up to. It was more just like my older brother, like just like siblings. When they would do something, then I like kind of wanted to follow in their footsteps and do it too.
So, of course, she's referring to Landon Skemp, who has been on our show, and enjoyable personality now at Winona. Reflection for you, Molly, when you were very young.
I think the biggest aspect with sports and what made me want to keep going is like the Suns team we were on. Her dad and Olivia Gamoki's dad coached it, and just the opportunities I got to, like, some of my best friends to this day are from sports, most of them are, and that's what made me want to keep doing it, is the people I'm around all the time, and I have a competitive soul, so I love to play the sports I play.
I've seen both of you compete, and I know you have competitive souls and spirit and energy and passion for the game. We're going to step aside just for a minute. When we come back, hear more on Seven Rivers Sports. We'll be right back.
With our busy lives, it's a comfort to know that we can still remember loved ones in a traditional way with a monument. Lewiston Monuments in Lewiston, Minnesota has been helping families purchase a monument for over 4 generations. You'll find a large selection of beautiful granite, marble, and bronze monuments, all at competitive prices. And they're a full-service company, so they also do straightening, cleaning, and repair of monuments. Stop in or call for a no-obligation consultation, or visit lewistonmonument.com for more information.
You know, the thing I'm most proud of when I think about our company is the reputation that we've been able to build in this community. Our technicians have done a great job going out and performing magnificent jobs for the customer. And our customers have rewarded us with some really great reviews online.
We have over 150 5-star reviews online right now. Our technicians do a great job out there, and our reviews show it.
We can say without hesitation, when you choose Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, you'll be glad you did.
Seven Rivers Sports. Spotlight this week, Onalaska High School Volleyball, Molly, Garrity, Carly, Skemp. Well, I talked to Coach Rohde. We referenced that a little bit in the first half of the show, but let's just dig down a little deeper, starting with Molly. Your coach says you've changed the position you've played, and you've done a nice job of adjusting, finding yourself on the right side of the season, of the team this season. And here's what's really interesting for our viewers. Molly never complained once, but continued to encourage. She's always cheering for the younger players. 39 kills, hitting 34% on the season. Are you at the point that you want to be? I know you have as we taped the show on November, you played on November 4th. We're taping it here. In October, you have a couple games left, but I mean, are you where you wanted to be?
I think as an athlete, I always think there's room to grow as a player and stuff. So I think I've improved as the season went, but I think it's not over yet. I mean, we're starting playoffs this week, so
right. I
think we still have a lot of room for improvement, including myself.
Well, so most athletes, including weekend warriors like me, are hard on themselves. They always want to get better. They're never in this level of comfort or mediocrity, and that shines through. With Carly stepped up to the plate this season, her coach says, changed her position also, and to a setter after playing on the right side. Carly is always asking questions in a way to better herself. 6'2", we talked about that rotation, but you lead the team with 210 assists. Did you know those stats?
I didn't know that, no.
What's your thought on that?
Well, that's exciting, but I don't know. I set, like, Molly and I were setters back in the day, but obviously, like, last year we had some pretty strong other setters, so you have to change, kind of bend around that. But then this year I just wanted to kind of go for it again, and it's been a pretty good season.
Yeah, very, very good. That's why you're on the show, Carly and Molly. Well, basketball, volleyball, softball. Carly Skemp. By the way, we had Andrew Skemp on, your cousin, a couple of weeks ago. What a tremendous young cross-country runner he is, and your brother's been on the show. Know your family. Your grandfather was a close friend who was a Chicago Bear fan. We talked about that. And I did a piece on the better basketball players that ever played in the Cooley region a few years ago. The top 10 basketball players that ever played here in the history of basketball. Your grandfather was in the top 10.
Really?
He was. So the Skemp name kind of synonymous with sports, and Karen from UWL on the show. Enough of that, but you received All Academic Sport Award, your leadership, National Honor Society. You know, you've submerged yourself in both sports and academics.
Yeah, I think school doesn't come super easy to me. I just have to work pretty hard to get good grades, but that's something I'm really motivated to do, which I think is good to have, obviously. But I don't know, not always my first choice to be studying or doing homework, but you got to be motivated enough to do it. So.
Carly Skemp, welcome to Terry's world. You said you had to study hard in order to. It didn't come naturally. Didn't come naturally for me either. I had to work hard to achieve it. So there's nothing wrong with that. Molly Garrity, 3 sports: volleyball, basketball, soccer, academic honor roll, National Honor Society, student of the month. By the way, I didn't get all of those. Academic all conference. Oh my goodness. Student first. Athletes second.
Yeah, honestly, I think being an athlete helps a lot with school and stuff because it teaches you to be motivated and all that stuff. And sports has always been an escape for me. So when I get done with school and it can be a stressful day and I am motivated to do well in school, I think sports have always been an escape at the end of the day.
That's exactly the way I thought you would share that. Volleyball, varsity all 3 years, all conference, basketball 4-year starter. We had you on Game of the Week many times, 2 times the sectional finals, almost there. One of my good friends happens to be Shane Schmaling. And by the way, he talked about you last night when I visited with him, about you being such a team leader, and you're going to have to assume a bigger role this year with some of the graduates. You have the ability to play D3 basketball at some point, and I knew that before you even shared it with me. So in soccer, 4-year varsity, I mean, you've excelled in every sport. And then I noticed in terms of leadership, which is synonymous with being an athlete, I think, leaders in action principles, is that a class?
Yeah, we both took it actually.
Okay, share a little bit about that. Carly, you want to start?
Yeah.
Well, Leaders in Action, we just kind of did different activities to learn how to be a better as yourself and better other people and be a bigger person around the school, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And you know, that was not part of the curriculum years ago. Now it's more of an expectation. I'm glad schools are adopting that. You want to go on to school, and then where do you want to go, and what kind of career? Where are we going to see you in 10 years?
Well, I don't really know where I want to go yet. I've applied to places, but I'm not 100% sure on where I'm going to officially go. But I do want to go into dentistry or more sciences and look into that kind of field. I don't know if I'll be a dentist or orthodontist yet. Mm-hmm. Just kind of depends.
So that's a great field. Now, a lot of your family are in teaching and in the law field, and you don't want to go into that area.
No, I know, like my older brother, Landon, I think he wants to kind of go into that, but I don't know. I just can't really see myself doing that. Not really good.
What's the biggest thing that you took away from what you've learned as an athlete and in this class in terms of leadership? Molly?
I think the biggest thing is leadership isn't something you just do when the class hour is happening. It's something you see every day, from opening a door for someone to being a leader on the court. It's just something that I think it's huge just to put into your life as a huge aspect of your life, and it's not just one part of the day, it's all the time.
Well said. That's why Molly and Carly are on the show, because I see that when I watch you interact and watch you play. 3 older siblings, high expectations, I know that, and that's going to launch you into college and into a career. But we talked about earlier, besides the academic aspect of your next chapter in college, you're going to try to blend that with basketball.
Yeah, I think it's already a challenge in high school in some aspects, and I think it's going to be a challenge in college, but I've seen people do it, and I'm really excited to do it, and sports isn't something I see letting go after high school, so that's why I want to do it. 2
great programs in the area. Karen Middleton, the head coach at UWL, Lionel Jones, the head coach of Viterbo. They'd love to have you.
Yeah, I've been, one of my options is UWL. I'm between UWL and Edgewood, which is in Madison.
Of course, our daughter was at Edgewood, and yeah. I refereed their games. And physical therapy, it looks like that may be where you're pointed.
Yeah, I think even going on with that leadership thing again, I just like to help people. I enjoy that type of field, so even teaching in any aspect, I thought PT was very interesting.
What does Molly do when she's not studying and playing sports? What would we find you doing on a weekend when you have free time? Hobbies?
I love to be with my friends. I honestly surround myself with people most of the time. That's just one of the things I love to do. In the summer, I like being, well, all the time, I like being outside and on the river when I can be.
So blending that into a philosophy, which is part of what you just said, you know, there's a biblical saying that says iron sharpens iron, and I've seen it on some T-shirts once in a while. Iron sharpens iron means that surrounding yourself with good people will transform or influence you, and that's part of your philosophy of life, isn't it?
For sure. I can't thank my support system enough, and surrounding myself with the right people has been such a big aspect of being able to do this for going on 4 years.
Carly, your hobbies, this is what I found interesting. They are being with friends, but they're also baking and drawing. Now, I don't know much about baking, but do you have a favorite dish or favorite recipe?
Well, I just like to do it for fun. I don't really, I don't know, I don't have a favorite, but I also love to watch baking shows. I'm watching this British baking show right now, and it's so good.
Really?
Yes.
So you have a little culinary blood in you,
yes.
In other words.
And I love eating sweets too, so it just, once you're done making it, you just eat it, so.
I do too, but as you get older, you have to refrain from those sweets because your sugar level might just not be where you want it to be. Something people don't know about you, you've had some injuries.
Me? Yeah. Well, my first one was in 2nd grade. I broke my arm. I fell off the bleachers at a softball field, and I broke my arm. I've done that multiple times. I was backpedaling one time, and I broke my arms, and then I was sledding and broke my jaw. And
but you Humpty Dumpty was put back together again, right?
Yep.
So, and Molly too, I noticed you had an interesting comment to what do people don't know about Molly Garrity. Interesting. What would that be?
What's that?
Your snack?
Oh, I love Flamin' Hot Cheetos. That's my favorite thing to eat.
Is that your pre-game or post-game?
Oh, I can't do it before games, but it's my post-game snack.
Do you know, a lot of people struggle with the mental aspect of preparation. the mental is to the physical as the number 4 is to the number 1. Meaning if you're not mentally prepared, you self-destruct. How do you mentally prepare for one of your sports? What do you do before a game to get your mind ready for action? Molly?
I think I become a very superstitious person as the season goes on. So, like, I jammed my thumb last year, and I taped it, and even when it got better, I continued to tape it because I felt like I had to. It was just a superstition. And I think the biggest thing for all sports we play is to warm up, like have just an insane warm-up, listen to music, just be with your team.
Good. And for Carly, too, we talked about your 5 broken bones, but mentally, you put, something tells me you blend in like positivity, and your vision is that good things are going to happen.
I definitely when VR and JV would play, I'd kind of just like focus on like their games and be like, oh, I can see myself like diving on the ground or like making a good play or something. But I like to like focus on positive things before the game, so I'm not like mentally strained or whatever. So. And
you're a happy person. I can see that. Contentment is a missing ingredient of a lot of young people. They're not content. They want something more. They're not athletically gifted to where some of their peers are, so they're not happy with themselves. Are you happy with yourself?
For the most part, I think, yeah. I mean, there have been times where I haven't been, but...
Molly, are you happy with yourself? Are you content in this world?
I think same thing. I think in some aspects, but I'm an eager teen, so I still think I can improve in a lot of places.
Good. I can tell that. And Coach Smaling, by the way, wants you out for basketball, too. I know you didn't play last year, but he's one of my good friends and one of my favorite coaches because he coaches the way I think you should. He makes people work hard and doesn't tolerate anything other than complete effort. Nothing wrong with that. Good teachers should do the same thing, in my view. But anyway, you have been really wonderful. And one of the reasons I like hosting the show is because I get to meet people like Molly, Garrity, and Carly Skemp because you're inspiring. So I appreciate you being on the show.
Well, thank you for having us.
All right, we'll be back with some highlights of a recent game right after this.
You know, the thing I'm most proud of when I think about our company is the reputation that we've been able to build in this community. Our technicians have done a great job going out and performing magnificent jobs for the customer. And our customers have rewarded us with some really great reviews online.
We have over 150 5-star reviews online right now. Our technicians do a great job out there, and our reviews show it.
We can say without hesitation, when you choose Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, you'll be glad you did.
When you're faced with the decision of selecting a monument to honor someone dear to you, call Lewiston Monuments for a no-obligation consultation. Lewiston Monument is a full-service monument company, serving families in Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin for over 4 generations. You'll find beautiful granite, marble, and bronze memorials, all at competitive prices. Their experts can help you design the perfect and unique memorial. Lewiston Monument. Call today or on the web at lewistonmonument.com.
Well, an exciting non-conference game on Friday as the West Salem Panthers would host the undefeated Aquinas Blue Goals. And now I'm going to start for the Blue Goals, as on the first possession, a bad snap over the head of Jackson Flopmeyer led to a safety. 2-0 lead for the Panthers early in the first. In the second quarter, Luke Knoll from 3 yards out and a Joseph Daly PAT. Then Jackson Flopmeyer to a wide-open halfback, Aiden Lee from 10 yards out for the first Blue Goal touchdown. The conversion pass failed, 9-6 Panthers at intermission. No scoring in the third, so we move to the final quarter. 2 more TDs by sophomore and our player of the game, Luke Knoll, from 45 and from 1 yard out. The Panther defense stiffened with senior standout C.J. McConkey, along with a pair of juniors, Noah LaFleur and Jack Haley, to prevent the Blue Goals from finding pay dirt. Flotmeyer was held to only 87 yards passing. Sophomore Calvin Hargrove rushed for 67 yards. Salem ran for an impressive 209 yards, with Luke Knoll leading the way with 149 yards. Final from Salem, the Panthers 22 and the Blue Goals 6. The 3-1 Blue Goals are at Onalaska on Friday, while the 2-1 Panthers travel to Nakusa. Well, that's it this week. I'm your host, Terry Erickson, hoping that you will have an active and a healthy week ahead.